And I'd like to dedicate tonight's shiur. We have a Yortzeit Askara for so let me just get the name. Yeah. Avraham David ben Mordechai. As Yortzeit tonight. So Lulu Nishmat Avraham David ben Mordechai. Avnam Elimelech Melijensk. כן? רבי אהרון רוטר, רב אהרון רוטר, ומרם שף, צדיקים of today, and also, לא נשמע את רבקה בת שיינה, ברוך השם תניחנה בגן עדן, אמן. And tonight, we're going to be studying a little bit, preparing for Leil HaSeder. So in 1 week's time, we're going to be doing B'dikat Chametz. So we'll be getting all ready for Pesach. Tonight, we're doing a bit of preparation. Leil HaSeder according to the Zohar, which is what I promised tonight. I want to just dedicate a refuah shlema for all Am Yisrael and all the sick also from the virus. I want to give a special refuah shlema for Gabriela Nomi bat Leah Malka, Elisheva bat Sheva bat Rivka, and Tikva Oshni bat Rosette, Carmela bat Eti, and Claudine bat Chama Ruchama. Kella Rafan Elem, refuat nefesh, refuat aguf, refuat krova lavo. Okay, are we all excited? So Leil HaSeder is coming up. In about 9 days time. So I want to start off with the idea. I heard it actually today from Rav Zamir Cohen, just while I was Pesach cleaning out my house. So I put him on and he had a beautiful idea. And it's something which we've all heard before. And he just added on a deeper insight. And he said, what are you doing when we're searching for chametz? So he said, every time that we have a mitzvah to do, he calls it avodah gashmi, which is a physical action we need to do. Corresponding to that, there's a deeper internal avodah ruchani, which is something which we need to understand or internalize on a deeper level. So he said like this, what's the difference between chametz and matzah? It's the difference of what again?
Shmarim.
Shmarim. Okay. Shmarim, what is shmarim? Shmarim is yeast. What makes it rise. Okay. Even without shmarim, your shmarim is of course going to be making chametz, but even without shmarim, kosher matzah has to be made within 18 minutes. Now, what does that mean, 18 minutes? From the second the water touches the flour until it gets into the oven, it has to be less than 18 minutes. Now, I've been in, for many years, I've been doing it in a matzah chabura, where they make matzot. Everything's on a second, yeah? And everything is in action. Everyone's on timer, the stopper, and you got to get it moving. You got to get the dough from flour to dough. From dough, you have to split up to make the matzot. From the matzot, you got to roll it out, make the holes, get it into the oven. If you're late or delayed or safek delayed, then they throw it away. They didn't even bother to make it. Now, why is that? It's already become chametz. What's the difference? A few seconds. Now,
can I ask what percentage gets thrown away? As in,
it's small because everyone's very careful. So it's small. I'm saying maybe 95% is good. Yeah, it's a small percentage. It varies. Okay. I mean, if you get it perfectionists, maybe you'll get 100%. Yeah, but
you talk about the shmura, but industrial. Industrial, it can be like a fraction of percent.
Matzah, yeah. Handmade shmura matzah, it can vary between 90% to 98%, 99%. If you're doing machine matzah, then everything runs by machine. Mm-hmm. So very interesting observation. Chametz, the word chametz and the word matzah. So both have 3 letters, and both identical in 2 letters. And each one has 2 differences. What's a similarity? Chametz has mem and tzadik. Matzah has mem and tzadik. What's the difference? 1 letter. The letter hey in matzah and the letter chet in chametz. Now listen to this, and even if you heard this before, but there's a much deeper understanding to it. He said matzah, the hey, where's the hey? At the end of the word. Chet, where's the letter? In the beginning of the word. And what's the difference between the chet and the hey? The letter hey, the way it's spelled, it almost looks like a chet, but the hey has got like a short leg, and the chet is connected. So even as a child, you ask your children, and you learn this in Gan, the hay, when it rises, it touches the chet. That's symbolic of the bread that rises. Okay, that's very nice. Now, we're all grown men, and we were trying to understand what's it got to do with Pesach. It's very nice for their children, but let's try and understand what's the difference, really. So, he explained this very nicely. And he said that Rav Zamir Cohen from Idabut, there's something which is called Shoresh HaTov. What's the root of all good character? Midot Tovot. What would you say is the most important, best midah of truth? Who said Anava? Gilad's a great. So Anava is very important. It's an important
Actually, it's not Anava, it's Emunah.
Emunah, okay. You're saying good things.
What's Avana?
Anava is humility. Okay, humility, Anava. We said about Moshe Rabbeinu, he was Anava.
Yeah, but Emunah, it's before Anava. Emunah encapsulates or captures Anava as well. So it's
okay. I was to say Kavana.
Yes.
Kavana.
Kavana is with a thought or intention. Yeah. So, what is the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
Chesed.
Chesed. Chotemet shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is emet. Emet. That means tchila is emet. So he called it a tree. If you have a etz midot, the roots of all good midot, which midot come out from, is emet, truth. And out of that comes all the good positive midot. Okay, let's do the opposite. What's the root of all bad character? What's the worst midah to have?
Shek.
Okay, so you got it there. It's sheker. Of course, it got sheker. And that comes out. Now explain, how does all the bad midot come out of sheker, and how do all the good midot come out of
Emet.
Thank you, Emet. So, if you think about it, Anava. Okay, so Anava is most important. We learned about it beforehand in previous shurim about Moshe Rabbeinu. His greatness was his humility. Because someone is truthful, then he's not gonna take pride in himself, because he realizes, listen, this is not really me. I'm honest and I'm truthful, and whatever talents I do have, or whatever success I have, is all gifts from God. And that's being honest, that's being truthful. So if I'm emet and I have that midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so automatically I will be an anav and I have a humility. Now, let's take the other side, sheker, then that will automatically lead to ga'ava, because I'm lying, I'll take credit for things that I don't deserve, because that's sheker, that's lie, deceit. Also, I will get angry, kaas, because I'm thinking about myself, and how dare you, not me, but my gava, that comes all from that sheker. And then tava of lust, that also comes because I'm just thinking about myself. But if I'm being honest and truthful, everything is just God, there's nothing me. So that all follows in, and all follows through. So when I'm talking about the difference between chametz and matzah, what's the difference? Rising. Matzah is truthful, it's honesty. Why? Because whatever you put in, that's what you get. You just put in the flour and the water, and that's a thin piece you get. Where's chametz? It's all sheker. It's all puffed up. How does it rise? It's just air. There's nothing in it. If you touch a dough while it's rising, as soon as you put your hand to it, if anyone's made bread before, it just falls down. Why is that? And that's what they tell you when you're making matzah. You have to always touch it with your hands and move it around and keep it. Why? Because that stops it from rising. Because rising is falsehood. That's deceitful. And you can be deceitful to others, and you can be deceitful to yourself. And the message here of chametz is that we're getting rid of all that, the sheker that we have in our lives. We're getting rid of that. We're going only for the matzah, for the truth, for the honesty of the emet. And that's really the underlying principle over here that we're looking for in Leil HaSeder. When we're doing bi'ur chametz, when we're burning the chametz, that's what we want to burn. All that midat of ga'ava, of the chametz, of that puffed up bread, where it's just, air inside. There's nothing really to it. And the honest, basic, the truth of matzah, that this is the simplicity of what it is. And that's on one deep level, but there are other deep levels. I just wanted to share that idea with you. So that was as words of introduction. In preparing for Leil HaSeder, now I cannot underestimate this. I cannot underestimate the importance of Leil HaSeder. And we see this, that, we ask, Ma nishtana? Why is this night different from all the other nights? if we see that in all the mitzvot that we have daily, we always mention Zecher Leitziat Mitzrayim. The 10 Commandments starts off opening paragraph, Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzaticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. The first of the 10 Commandments, that's what we're talking about, Yetziat Mitzrayim. You just walk out the door, you touch the mezuzah, it's Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim. You put on a tefillin, Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim. Shema Yisrael, Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim. Kiddush, Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim. Tefillah, and so on and so forth, and it goes on. And that's the basic fundamental of all Judaism. So we need to talk about this. And especially when we're going to be sitting tonight, Leil HaSeder, how much preparation goes in for Leil HaSeder? How much do we spend time? We spent so far 2 or 3 shiurim, and there's going to be another shiur next week as well. So what is this difference tonight? So on this night, we didn't actually go out of Yetziat Mitzrayim, but many miracles happened. All the miracles of Egypt shows Hashem's glory in the world, how he rules the world, all right, in all aspects, over ground, in the skies, under the ground, on all different environments and habitats. And this is where Hashem chose us to be the nation. This is the birth of Am Yisrael, that's Leil HaSeder. That's why we have so much involvement with the children. Keep the children awake, teach the children. We do songs with them, we play games, we give them treats. And this is where we become the firstborn of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Beni Bechori Yisrael, and Hashem gives us the mitzvot. So what was on this night? Avraham Avinu, when he had this fight with the 4 kings and the 5 kings, that was on Leil HaSeder. Okay, when Yitzchak gave a bracha to Yaakov, that was on Leil HaSeder. When Hashem revealed himself to Moshe in the burning bush, that was on Leil HaSeder. Okay. When Achashverosh b'layla hu nadada shnat hamelech, that was also on Leil HaSeder. When Daniel b'gova arayot with the lions, then that was also on Leil HaSeder. Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah with the fire was also on Leil HaSeder. Sancherib was Leil HaSeder. And even when Chazal, when they wrote for us the Tefillah of Amidah, the Tefillot Chazal made for us, that was also on Leil HaSeder. So all these happened all on Leil HaSeder. So we have to understand the magnitude and the power of this night. And you see Jews all over the world. Doesn't matter how far they are from Judaism, how near they are. Everybody knows, Leil HaSeder, that's Kadosh. Even Chabad, they said the busiest night. Everyone wants Leil HaSeder. People not interested in kasher, not interested in Shabbat, not interested in Judaism, but if it's Leil HaSeder, they want to be in it. So let's try and understand what it is. Okay. So I promise you, according to the Zohar, and I must say, I think this is one of the proofs to the divinity of the Torah. How can you know that the Torah was written by God? And we're going to study here, and this is a simple observation, okay? There's many books which are written by different authors, okay? You have children's books and you have adults' books. But children's books are for children. Adults' books are for adults, okay? You can give a child a little Disney book and he'll enjoy it. Give it to an adult, it doesn't interest him, Give him some serious novel or in-depth, something more intellectual, and he'll enjoy it. Give it to a child, even if he can read, he's going to find it boring. By the Torah, it can be understood on every level. You can teach it to a child, you can understand the story. You can ask the questions. And as you get older, even the wise man, even a rabbi, even who's someone who's learned, but you go into the depths of the Torah, and it's like the layers of an onion. You just peel each layer, and you just discover more and more. And that's what we're going through today. More to deeper into understanding of Leil HaSeder. So I'm going to ask a series of questions, and then I'm going to introduce the concept of which is brought by the Zohar Hakadosh. And I must say, I was introduced by a friend. His name is Rabbi Avraham Mizrahi, one of my neighbors. Introduced me to a new sefer. This is called the Chassidut Movoret, and he compiled different lists of questions. So, why is this night different from all the other nights? Question number 1. Question number 2, why is it called Pesach? Why is Pesach called Pesach? Which is in English means Passover. Okay, so what does it mean Passover? So what did we learn? Ma Pasach on what?
על בתי ישראל.
על בתי ישראל, exactly. That means in Mitzrayim, in order to kill Makat Bechorot, to kill the firstborns, Hashem passed over all the houses, Pasach alehem, and he made sure he knew which one was the firstborn, because who knows who was born first, especially when in a country where immorality is rampant, and there's how do you know who's going to be the firstborn, whose child is whose? So only Hashem knows that. So Hashem pasach al kol habatim. So that is according to Pshat, but according to the Sod is going to be a different explanation. Why is there a mitzvah according to the Rambam lesaper b'yetziat Mitzrayim? Sipur yetziat Mitzrayim. In fact, the Torah says, Rambam says, kol hamarbe lesaper b'sipur yetziat Mitzrayim harei mushubach. Okay. Now we don't find that in Chanukah. There's a mitzvah to tell the story of Chanukah. Okay, we tell them because we want to know why we're eating the donuts. But there's no mitzvah harei mushubach in Chanukah. There's no mitzvah in all the chagim of Sukkot. Why are we talking about it? Okay, we study it, and if you come to the shiur, then we learn about it. But in Pesach, there's a mitzvah, and we tell it over to our children, even if we all know the story. Second question is, Chayav Adam lirot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. We have to see ourselves as if we left Mitzrayim. Now, why do you have to do that? We left. And also, how do you do that? How do you see yourself as if you left Mitzrayim? You never was there. Next question. Question number 5. We're going to ask 10 questions, and we're going to go one theme to answer everything. Another name for Pesach is called Chag HaAviv. Why is it called Chag HaAviv?
What do you mean?
Chag HaAviv. Chag HaAviv means
it's the
beginning of spring.
Spring festival. It's the beginning of spring. Why is it called the Chag HaAviv, spring festival?
אבל זה לא רק בגלל זה, יש גם בשיר השירים. That's the one with זה היה באביב כשהיה הניצנים נראו בארץ, זה זמן יציאת מצרים.
Very good, okay. So we're asking like this, there's halacha.
We say Shir Hashirim at the end of
Excellent, we say Shir Hashirim at the end of the Haggadah.
But Shir Hashirim, it actually also covers יציאת מצרים.
Okay, so listen, which
is the zman of Geulah.
Okay, so let's just study for 1 second the Jewish calendar. The non-Jewish calendar, there's machloket between the Christians and the Muslims. Christians go according to the sun. The solar year, okay, every day is exactly all the festivals on the same year, every year, the same time, on the same date, the same calendar date. The Muslims go according to the lunar year. They go according to the moon, which comes out of their festivals. They change according to the months. Every year it changes. The festival where they fast, it changes every year. The Jewish year is based on a combination of solar and lunar. Why? So there's a lot of dips according to the Kabbalah, reasons behind it. However, there's something specific that the Torah tells us that Chag HaAviv, Pesach, needs to be in the spring. And because of that mitzvah, we add in another month, Adar Sheni, every 2 or 3 years, varies on that. Why? Just to keep Pesach in the summer, in the spring. If we wouldn't add in a leap year of Adar Sheni, then Pesach would come like jump around different seasons, like the Ramadan, and it wouldn't stay in the spring.
Are we only referring to Israel? Because other parts of the world is winter.
Okay, so that's an interesting observation. Okay, but see, the main part of it, thank you for that question, Joe. We're mainly following according to Israel, and also I think Europe is also similar seasons as well. So you're right about that. But we're going according to the Israel, and that's the main part of the Jewish world. It's in the spring time. Okay, I don't think if any of them really have. Is there any parts where they have winter now, in winter or summer? Yeah, what's in Australia now? I can't hear you, Joe.
England's 365 winter.
Okay, so fine. So we're going to according to Eretz Israel of Aviv. So the question is now, why is it important just to put Pesach in the spring, in Aviv? And we fixed the whole calendar of a leap year just for that reason. What's the importance of that? It seems like it's got to be an intrinsic part of Pesach to be in the spring. Now you think about it, we talk about matzah, we talk about chametz. Who cares about spring? Pesach would be nice in winter, you know, maybe summer. Make a change. Okay, so that's question number 5. Question number 6. When they left Mitzrayim, they left in a rush, bechipazon. Okay, we left at night. Moshe said, we're leaving now. Chatzot Laila of Makot Bechorot, we all exit Yetziat Mitzrayim. I don't know if you see, but if you ever seen a parade, okay, or a march, when you have thousands of soldiers, maybe 10,000 soldiers. I read once, I can't remember who, he said he watched 10,000 soldiers. It was like it took them the whole day to march, just to pass through one road. It was 11,000 soldiers, just on and on and on. In Yetziat Mitzrayim, we're talking about 5 million people, okay, basic calculation, and they just left in about half an hour. And there was men and women and children and donkeys and all the animals, and they had to leave, and they were all leaving in a rush. Boom. They couldn't wait till the morning. What was the rush? Paro wasn't chasing them. Paro didn't chase them until another 7 days, till the last day of Pesach. So question number 6 is, what was the rush on the night of Leil Seder? Question number 7. All the Sifrei Hasidim talk about Cherut Olam. What does it mean, Cherut Olam? Cherut is freedom, and Olam is forever. Forever freed. Why is there a freedom forever in the night of Pesach? Especially as we see that not actually always free, right? There was other Galiot. Galiot was other exiles. You know, we left Mitzrayim, but that was just the beginning. We had the Egyptians, then we had the Greeks, we had the Romans, we had the Babylonians. It was just one episode. So why is it called Cherut Olam, leaving Mitzrayim? That's the question number 7. Number 8 is we say in the Gada, Ani velo malach. That was in Makot Bechorot. Now something special happened in Makot Bechorot, that at the same time that all the Makot of Bechorot, all the Egyptians were dying, at that time we were freed, and we went out the same night. And there was also everyone was healed at that time. So we see there was a refuah and they were healed. And we see alternatively, or how we say differently. Let me explain this. With the Chagim of Purim and Chanukah, first you had the war, Milchama, of the Yavanim neged Hashmonaim, in the time of Chanukah. When they finished the battle, Chanukah, they rested on the 25th, then we celebrate. And then we find the oil, and then there's a miracle of the oil. But that's after the battle of the war, of the Chashmir. So it happened, it's 2 stages, okay? With Purim, also we had the Gezerat Haman. When was Gezerat Haman? Does anyone know? What day? Go on.
It was in Pesach.
The story was in Pesach, you're right. But the Gezerah of Haman was Yud Gimel. Yud Gimel Adar, because he did a lot of Adar. Yud Gimel was Tanit Esther. Okay, that was the Milchama, and that was when they killed the Yud Gimel. And then the next day was Simcha u'Mishteh. And then Esther asked for another day for Shushan. But first they killed the enemies, and then they celebrated. Now here you see on Pesach, the same night that the enemies got killed, Makat Bechorot, that was the same night that we celebrate, is the same night that we're freed. All happens in one shot. Now why is that the difference? The discrepancy. And final question, number 10. Vayomer Elokim el Moshe. When God sends Moshe first time into Mitzrayim, he says, tell them, Ehyeh asher Ehyeh. That's my name. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. Ehyeh. Ehyeh, what does that mean, Ehyeh? Ehyeh means I will be. It's one of the names of God. Aleph, Hey, Yud, K. It's got a lot of deep meanings of Kopi Sod. Exactly. ויאמר כה תאמר לבני ישראל, אהיה שלחני עליכם. God sent me to you, and by this name of Ehyeh. And what does Moshe respond to HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
So I'm going to kill them of the Galiot that they will,
Well, what does he say? He says, Amar lefanav ribono shel olam. He says, Ehyeh imam b'tzar hazot, I will be with them in this trouble or this distress, this asher ehyeh imakem b'shibud shar malchut. I will be with them in the future, all the difficult times. So Moshe said, listen, one at a time. אמר לפניו ריבונו של עולם, מה אני מזכיר להם צרה אחרת? דיים בצרה זו. They have enough trouble with the Egyptians. I have to talk about all the future troubles they're going to have. Why do I need to mention it? אמר לו יפה אמרת. He said, okay, you're right. כה תאמר להם, he said to them, יש שלחני אליכם ויאמר מאוד אלוקים אל משה כה תאמר בני ישראל השם אלוקי אבותיכם שלחני אליכם. זה שמי לעולם וזה זכרי דור ודור. He said, okay, fine, scratch that idea. Don't tell them I will be with them in the future troubles, because it's enough for a person to know why. It's like a person has a operation, okay? So he says, thank you to the doctor. Thank you, he saved me. He says, don't worry, I'll be with you this time, and I'll be in all the other future operations that you're going to need to have, because I don't want any more operations. One is enough for me, thank you very much. You don't need to mention all the future distresses. So the question is, what is this name? And then Hashem agreed with Moshe, and he said, okay, just tell them the God of your forefathers has sent you, the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. So the question is, why did God want us to know that he's going to be with us? This name of Ehyeh is going to be the time in the future. Okay, so now I promised you a deeper level according to the Zohar, and this is based on the Baal HaTanya. Baal HaTanya was Admor HaZaken. Yeah, he wrote also the Shulchan Aruch HaRab, one of maybe the fathers of Hasidut of the Aliyah, and this is really, he brings also from the Zohar and from the Torah of Rabbi Chaim Vital and Arizal. Now, I'm just going to say as a word of introduction, I am going to explain it the best way that I understood on my level, okay? And I'm sure there's much more deeper than I can understand, and everyone will try and understand on their level. However much your neshama can absorb, maybe some of you will be able to understand more than me. I'm just going to be able to pass over what I understand. And I know for sure there's many levels which I don't understand.
Yeah, but we should say that, Baal HaTanya, it's for Benonim, yes? It's
for Benonim?
Yeah, that's what he wrote the book.
Yeah,
for.
The opening sefer is the sefer for Benonim. But I'm a beginner Benoni, so this is where we're just starting. I'm going to just say on my level. Okay.
That doesn't mean there's not many levels to it still.
Yeah, there's of course many levels. I know one of my brothers, he understands a bit more on these topics, but I'm just going to understand on a simple level. Let's say the pshat of the sod. Okay, let's call it that, the pshat of the sod. Okay, so everyone's going to be patient with me and try and understand the best you can. There's two Kabbalistic concepts. Are you ready for this, Joe? Here. There's two Kabbalistic concepts. I'm going to try and explain it like this as follows. One of them is called Memalek Kol Almin, okay? And one of them is called Sovev Kol Almin. Now I'll translate and explain. According to the Zohar, there's two ways that Hashem, because a Hanaga, Hakadosh Baruch Hu in the world. One is called Ziv HaShechina, and one is the Shechina. So Ziv HaShechina, Ziv is a ray of light. Okay, so now let's say if you open the window in the morning, you just open the curtains and the light comes in. So it fills up the room and it's daytime. But you don't see the actual sun. Okay, you just know that it's there. Okay, maybe if you step out and even if it's in the shade, it could be there's a sun that's behind the clouds, but it's daylight because that's the Ziv HaShechina, the rays. Sometimes if the sun is right directly in through the window, you see the rays of light coming in. But even then, it's not the actual sun, it's just the rays of light. That's Ziv HaShechina. Okay? That is the concept of Memalek Kol Almin. Let me explain. What does that mean? Memalek Kol Almin means fills up the whole world. Memalek, from the filling up. Kol Almin, the whole world. Okay. And then there's another concept of Sovev Kol Almin. Joe, I need you to be with me here. Okay. Sovev Kol Almin is a concept of surrounding the whole world. Now, what does this mean? There's different revelations of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a concept that Hashem fills up every item. That means Hashem fills up me. Inside of me is God. Malo kol haaretz kevodo. The computer in front of me is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's just what I see is a computer, but that's just the levush. Levush is the outer clothing, right? But really it's God. right? What you see behind me is a wall, but that is really also God. Everything is God. The table, the chair, the furniture. He fills up. Mamaleh kol haaretz kevodo. Hashem is mamaleh kol almin. He fills up everything. Every part of existence is God. Okay? That is called Ziva Shechina, which is the radiance. That's like the rays of light. It's not the actual sun. It's the, if you call it the effects of the sun, the sun fills up its light the whole world. And there's a period of Hester. Hester is hidden. What does it mean hidden? Now, you don't see God directly. You don't see directly the sun, you see the rays. Now, in Kabbalistic concept, whenever we talk about the spirituality, it's ruchanit, we talk about it as light. But it's just a metaphor. It doesn't not literally light, but the closest thing that we can understand and resemble to the energy or the power of God is something which we can call light, but it's not really light. It's something which is spiritual. So that is the metaphor, the mashal, which we're talking about. When we talk about the concept of sovev kol almin, that means the Shechina itself, that is what surrounds the whole world. Okay, and that is the direct revelation of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the concept is a Kabbalistic concept that when God's presence that filled up everything, in order to create the world, he had to remove himself from part of it and hide himself in Hester. That's why when you go into the street, you see trees, you see people, but really everything is God. But God fills up each part of it. And then there is the direct revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which we don't see. Okay? But when we do, Sovev Kol Almim is the direct contact of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So let's just summarize again. I don't know if I've lost anybody. But there's two concepts.
That's why Yetziat Mitzrayim is so
okay, one second.
Because that's what happened actually. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just get this straight and then we're going to talk about Pesach. So we've got Mamaleh Kol Almin and Sovev Kol Almin. What's Mamaleh Kol Almin? That's God fills up each presence. He fills up me, he fills up, and we don't see it. It's all hidden. And Sovev is the direct. Sovev Kol Almin is surrounding the world. That is the direct revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, when we're talking about Latid Lavo, in the future, God's presence will be revealed. Everybody will see directly God. That's what happened in Har Sinai. There's direct revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we talk about all the tzaddikim in Gan Eden, kulam yeshvim v'nehenim miziv hashchina. What does that mean? They all enjoy the radiance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of the Shekhinah. That means they see the sunlight, but they're not direct contact with the sun. So that means, Latid Lavo, when Mashiach comes, all the tzaddikim in Gan Eden, they will come down as an upgrade. From seeing the radiance of the sun, they will see the direct revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what we're waiting for when Mashiach comes, when we see everything directed. That is the Shekhinah itself. That is only when we have the Beit HaMikdash, we are in the Kodesh HaKodeshim, inside the Beit HaMikdash, when you have thank you. We have the vessels of the Beit HaMikdash. We have the Kodesh, we have the Menorah, the Shulchan, the Kaporet. Inside the Kodesh Kodeshim, we have the Aron HaBrit and the Kaporet, and on top of that, there's the presence of the Shekhinah. Only the Kohen Gadol goes there in Yom Kippur, and only wearing white clothes once a year. That revelation happens on Pesach night. Okay? So far, is it clear there's two concepts? Because now we're going to explain everything. Is there any questions so far?
No, yeah.
Just a quick question. My apologies. The Ktoret is inside the Kodesh HaKodeshim or outside? Because the Mizbeach Ktoret is outside of Kodesh HaKodeshim.
Okay, so there's different Ktoret. Ktoret or Mizbeach is outside. Okay, but the Avodat of a Kohen Gadol on yeah. So then this is quite different in the Rishonim where it goes in the Parochet. It starts outside, then it goes inside.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the Shiur. All of the other holidays, Purim and Chanukah, and there's always Mamaleh Kol Almin. Mamaleh Kol Almin And what we said is like the hidden part of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Hashem doesn't come out and reveal himself in one shot. Like even when he revealed to Moshe Rabbeinu in the sneh on Leil HaSeder, he revealed himself. Okay, that was the time of Leil HaSeder. But he comes down in stages. On Purim and on Chanukah, first stage is to get rid of the enemies. That's first stage. Second stage is to bring the glory to Kavod to Am Yisrael, the miracle of the oil. Okay, the celebration of Purim. First two stages. It's like if a king wants to build his palace, first he has to demolish, clear out all the filth, all the dirt, and then he builds up his palace. It doesn't happen in one shot. It happens in stages. That's the stage of Mamalek Kol Almin. That's the normal. It happens in stages when God doesn't know. But on Pesach, it's Ani velo malach. When you send him a messenger with Sancheriv, what happened in Sancheriv? Pasuk says in the Navi Malachim, "Vayi balayla hu vayetze malach Hashem vayach b'machane Ashur." The angel of God came and he destroyed all the enemy of Sancheriv. 185 legions, 1,000 legions. And in the morning they were all there. That was Malach. But when God comes out himself, he skips all those stages. What does it mean he skips the stages? He passes over the stages. Pesach al kol hadargot hashlavim. That's why it's called Pesach. On the mystical side, physically in Mitzrayim, he passed over the houses. Pesach al habatim. But on the mystical level, he passed over all the stages. You don't have to first kill the enemies and then save Am Yisrael. On the same night, Achatzot Laila, when he destroys all the firstborns, all the gods of the Egyptians, that they worship their firstborns. On the same night, at the same time, Chatzot Laila, they went out of Egypt. Because Ani v'lo malach, it was the Gilui of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the relation of God himself in the realm of Bechina of Sovev Kol Almin, which is the direct line. And on the same night, we say Hallel. Now, when we think about that, on the night of Leil HaSeder, so all of you in your houses on Leil HaSeder will be leading the table. There's a minhag to wear white clothes. Why do we wear white clothes? So either we use jalabia or Ashkenazim wear kittel. You can wear both. Whatever you want to do. We'll wear white clothes. Why white? So white resembles Kippur. According to the Maharal, and this is the Sfarim say, the person leading the table is like a Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. You have an important job. Tonight on Leil HaSeder, that's the revealing of Kadosh Baruch Hu once a year. Once a year, that night comes, and the Shekhinah comes down in the presence himself. That's what is different on all other nights. Why do Jews all over the world, suddenly they remember that they're Jewish, they want to find the Chabad, give me some matzot and wine, I'm paying any price. And literally, they will literally pay any price to get some matzah and wine on this night. Why is that? This is direct revelation. It means, it doesn't have to, first, normally you have to cleanse yourself from all the tumah to reach a high level of spirituality. That's on the normal level of Mamalek Kol Almin, what happens in stages. But on this night, it happens directly. In one shot, you can come clean and rise up yourself. So we are brought up.
Sorry, are we talking about Yom Kippur or Leil HaSeder?
We're talking about Leil HaSeder. Leil HaSeder, well, one second, but just. I made a comparison between Leil HaSeder and Yom Kippur. And I explained that the person leading the Seder night is like the Kohen Gadol who goes into the Kodesh HaKodeshim on Yom Kippur. Now, what's it got to do with each other? Because I said the presence of God in this world is only when the Beit HaMikdash is built, in the Beit HaMikdash, in the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Who goes there?
The Kohen.
Only Kohen Gadol, only on Yom Kippur. Not a Kohen Gadol. And only on Yom Kippur, and he fasts, prepares himself 7 days beforehand, mikveh, and goes in and doesn't stay up all night, doesn't have to come out alive or dead. Mm-hmm. Yes, they chained his foot. Chained around his foot is a chain, because if he doesn't come out alive, we pull him out, because no one's allowed to go in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Kohen Gadol. And on this night of Pesach, every Jew, wherever he is in the world, in Thailand or Australia or in Germany or in Givat Ze'ev, is that like the night of Kohen Gadol, where the Shekhinah comes down in his presence. Because we're all raised up to that level. We get that magnitude of Sovev Kol Almin. Direct Shekhinah revealed to us. That's once a year. That's the greatness of this night. And that's what the Zohar says. We have to do everything before Chatzot. Why do we have to finish the Haggadah and we rush it, b'chipazon? Because that's the left, they have to catch the time. When Moshe said we have to leave now, why do we have to leave now? Because now's the time, it's Chatzot Laila. This is the time where God's revealing himself in the world. This is the time where Daniel was in the lion's den and he got free. This is the time of Sancheriv. This is the brachot of Yitzchak. Why do you have to bring me the food now? This is the Melchama of the 5 kings. Everything that happened on Leil HaSeder was Chatzot Laila.
Well, it was kach chatzot around, and then and only after they woke up, and then Baruch told them to leave. So how does it work?
No. So all happened. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu kechatzot laila. Sorry, Moshe told Paro kechatzot. Hashem told Moshe bechatzot. But it was at that time of that night that all happened. Now why can't they just wait till the morning? No one's chasing you. Paro said, go. Okay, I'll go tomorrow. He's not chasing me. I'll leave tomorrow. I'll get organized, pack my luggage. We have lists, tell people who's going first. And no, boom, everyone's going on that night. Because this is the night of the revelation of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So we need to prepare ourselves for this night of Leil HaSeder. So that was why we said, why is it called Pesach? Because he passed over all the nights. My daughter asked me a question. He said, why on Leil HaSeder? Why do we have a Seder? Why is it a sequence? Seder means sequence. Okay, and in fact, when we start off the Haggadah, before we start Kiddush, we say, Kadesh, Orchat, why we say that? And we sing the whole time from the beginning. Because there's an order. Because in order to get to that level of the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Gilui Shechina, Sovev Kol Almin, there's a sequence you have to reach to that period, and you have to make sure you get there by Chatzot, or at least preferably to the peak at Chatzot. Like you see the Bet HaMikdash. For the Shechina to come down, you needed to have organized all the Kelim, Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodeshim, all the different parts. So we have to say everything. Sorry?
What's the peak? You said we have to get to the peak. What's the peak?
The peak is to finish eating the Afikomam, the Dalet Kosot. Try and do that before Chatzot. Okay? You can't do it afterwards, but the peak is Chatzot. So we want to build ourselves up beforehand. Now, when we're talking about Yetziat Mitzrayim, this is the birth of Am Yisrael. The birth of Am Yisrael is in Leil HaSeder. We always have to remember where we come from. We come from Leil HaSeder. Now, it says Shlosha Shutfin Ba'adam. There's 3 partners in creation of a person. Here's the 3 partners. Yeah, his father, his mother, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said his father brings him the Odin. What's the Odin? The red, the blood. All the muscles that comes from the father. The mother brings the Loven, the white, the bones, the teeth. And the HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings the Neshama. On Leil HaSeder,
that's why when we're blessing someone, if it's refuah shlema, that's why it's sorry, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, okay. Carry on.
So if this night of Pesach is the night where we're born, so we also have to have those 3 components together. So it brings us down from the Sfarim HaKadoshim. We have the wine. Wine we drink represents the red part of the blood from the father. Matzah represents the loven, the white part from the mother. The reading of the Haggadah represents the Neshama comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we're just repeating it again. What's the Sipur? Why is there a mitzvah of Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim? Why with no storytelling of other mitzvot? Here's a mitzvah. Lesaper is a fun. Saper is to tell a story, but it also reveals. Yomagale. When a sapar is a hairdresser, he cuts your hair. All right? When he cuts your hair, he reveals everything. All right? He cuts it all off. But Sipur is just revealing. This is representing to the revealing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How much he's loving us. Why are we telling the story? And maybe this is a clue. We're going to talk about it more next week. The main reason why we're telling the story of Mitzrayim is to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't want to miss the main point of the night. The main point of the night, is to train the children to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Look what he did for us. Look at the miracles. What did he do? Just in the plague of blood, in the plague of frogs, in the splitting of the sea. All these miracles he did for us. When you tell the story, you're just thanking to Hashem. Okay? If I stay at your house and I come for Shabbat, how do I thank you? I say, oh, thank you so much. It was so nice how you greeted me nicely. I tell the story, and I really enjoyed the food, and I tell it, and how you did this for me. This is how I thank properly. I retell of what happened. That was the point of the story, to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yetziat Mitzrayim. What does it mean? What is Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim is Mitzarim. Mitzarim is boundaries. Big gvulot. When you go out of your boundaries, you come out and stop thinking about yourself and thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The anava, we said that the truth about who you are, of the matzah, symbolized by the matzah, is the humility. And you realize, Melech kol haaretz kevodo. God is around everything. I have to realize that when Hashem took us into Mitzrayim, into the place of boundaries, is to take us out of the boundaries. Is that every Jew is supposed to see himself coming out of the boundaries? What does it mean coming out of the boundaries? Coming out physicality, realize that God is with you everywhere. Live about, be truthful to yourself. Be that emet, like the matzah. And realize the anava, humility of yourself, and this God is above you. Come directly into contact with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Hashem. There's no me. There's nothing about, it's not about me, it's about God. Now there's a special halakha. There's a special halakha in Birkat HaMazon. And I don't know if you know this, eh? If you say, let's do zimun, havlan v'nivrech, okay? That means you stopped eating. Okay, you did the ma'am achronim, havlan v'nivrech, and now you want to carry on eating, you change your mind. What's the halakha? You have to make a bracha again because you decided to stop eating and now you want to carry on eating. Okay, that only happens when you're the host. If you're a guest, you can't say, okay, let's bench, let's do havlan v'nivrech, let's do ma'am achronim, because the host is in charge and you're a guest. Does that make sense? Make sense, the halakha? Again, when I make a bracha of hamotzi lechem min haaretz, I have in mind for the whole meal. When I finish the meal, that's the and terminates the bracha, the validity of the bracha, right? That's the, what do you say?
Concludes.
Expiry. It's expired. The bracha is expired at the end of the Suda. So once I make my machonim, I have to make another new bracha. That's only when I'm the host. But if I'm the guest, I can't decide when to terminate the Suda because the host is in charge. I'm just the guest. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The only exception is if you're in your house and you're the boss of your house and no Leil HaSeder, and you say, okay, now let's do Birkat HaMazon. You do my machne and say, wait, we haven't eaten afikoman. Then you eat. You don't make another bracha for Hamatzi. You eat afikoman. Why? Because even if you own your own house, on Leil HaSeder, you're not the host, you're a guest. You are the Suda of the Melech. Because God himself is in your house. And that's why you call it Leil Shimurim, because I'm with you. I'm with you everywhere. This night, I'm with you. For all generations. Open the door, don't even lock your door at night. Why? Because Hashem says, I'm here. And we were the guests at the table of the king. So that's why the halakha is afikoman. You eat it. On this night, everything changes and it comes new. The Baal HaLeshem, he said, why did Am Yisrael leave in such a hurry and a rush? So we said they had to reach that time. This is also a little bit deeper. I'll try and say how I understand. So the reason why they left in such a rush, because if they would have stayed in Mitzrayim a bit longer, they wouldn't be able to come out. So says the Leshem, he said, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean they wouldn't have been able to come out? There would have been such a level of Tumah. They were on the 49th level of Tumah. On the night they left Egypt, they just seen a year of miracles of the 10 plagues. They were on such a high spiritual level, they had a clear revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said if they would have stayed a little bit longer, they would have had such a reality and a clarity of God. He said that they would have taken away the whole the whole freedom of choice. All the bechira would have been taken away from them. He said the whole purpose of creation is that a man should choose. Why is God hidden in the world? Why didn't I see God everywhere? To give you a choice to do right or to do wrong. And he said, if I don't have the choice between good and evil, then that's the end of the existence. So it means if we would have stayed and saw a bit longer to see, we would have been blasted out of existence, out of seeing the revelation of God. So we had to leave at that moment. And this time we have to remember that this is really part of what creation is about, to have that choice to see God wherever it is. So when we talk about the birth of the nation, and this is the birth, and everything is renewed, and we start from fresh, and we on Chag Pesach we buy new clothes and we buy new things for the house. He says that's why Hashem wanted Pesach to be in the spring, Chag Aviv. Why? Because he wanted all creation also to be involved in this renewal. I want the trees to blossom. I want everything to come out, the animals to come out of hibernation. Everything is rebirth. When my nation is reborn, I want everything, all the nature to be reborn. And you see that rebirth in the springtime. And he said that's when we call about Chirut Olam, the freedom forever, that we're given the vessels to litmoded. I have to say litmoded, to deal with. How can I deal with all difficulties? I have difficulties at home. I have difficulty with my family. I have difficulty with my parnasa, with my health, with my job, my neighbors. The emunah that we have on this night, that God is with us at every stage we have. This is what takes us. And this is the life of the Jew. So when we're leaving that, the Gilui of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is on this night. Once we've been born on Pesach, then it doesn't matter all of the other Galiyot that we're going to have. The Greeks, the Romans, the Babylonians, the Persian, the Germans, the Spanish, the Hezbollah, and all the enemies of the Am Yisrael. When you tell your children, there was a suicide bomber, how do you explain that to a 4-year-old? He just killed the Jews. Why? So you explain to them. You remember Paro was in Mitzrayim, and they put us as slaves. And God was with us, and he took us out. And he explained to a child, this is the same thing. All the troubles that we have now, we're just in the stage of being in the Shibud. Avadim ayinu leParo b'Mitzrayim. We were in servitude to Paro. B'Mitzrayim is in the Metzarim, boundaries. Paro is Oref. Ha'oref. Ha'oref is the nape. The back of your neck is called Ha'oref. That's the letters of Paro. Panim is the Hanaga that Hashem has to Am Yisrael. Yisa Hashem panav elecha. Okay, so when we were avadim to Paro Mitzrayim, this is the time where we all difficulty with this corona and that we don't see everything. It's all in the back. But one day when Mashiach comes, will be revealed, and God's presence will be Shekhinah, then we'll be freed. We'll come out of the Mitzrayim. This is what we teach our children on Liel Pesach, on Liel Aseder. When we come out freed from Galiyut. And that's really the message for us of Liel Aseder. We're all coming free, and it all happens in one time. And that's really the message. That is the understanding of Liel Aseder according to the Zohar. That on this night, everything happens all in one go. We have an opportunity to be uplifted. Whoever we are, everywhere in the world. So I hope you enjoyed the shiur. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you want like to do the recording, we want to do a thank you, Ma'or. We want to do special arachot.